Hello, my name is Alan Hedrick. This is my application to be an EECS 183IA. For my video, I'm going to be talking about the difference between pass by value versus pass by reference, as well as how to define and declare functions. This is taking into account that I'm teaching for a group who understands the basics of C++ and the syntax surrounding it already. So without further ado, I will begin. So to start off, I'm just going to be giving some example of code. So I'm going to just create my main, int main, parentheses, and then I'm just going to right now fill in my return 0 in my other bracket. So we have our main. Inside of this main, we are first going to declare just a simple variable. I'm going to be using an integer. We're going to call it int x, and we're going to set that equal to 5. So if you remember correctly, so right now we have a variable stored in memory as x, which is 5. So we're going to define and declare a function which simply adds 1 to variable x. So when defining a function, you need to do it above the main. You do it like so. You first write the return type. It can be an int, a void, a string, or a double, which is the return type. For now, we're just going to be using this. This means that this function is always going to be returning an integer. Same thing if this was a string, it would always be returning a string, or double would be the same, would be a double. Or if it would be a return type void, where it could return nothing. So then we're just going to give our name. Since we're just adding 1 to this variable, for now we're just going to call it add1. And add1. And we're going to call our argument, which is also going to be an integer, int x. All right. And then so we have our definition. Now we're going to make our declaration. This is where we actually write in the beef of the code. We have int add1 int x. All right. So this add1, all we do is we simply have our parameter x, and we just plus equals 1. What this is going to do is just add 1 to this variable. You could also do, for instance, x equals x plus 1. However, x plus equals looks better using sign. In terms of syntax, x plus equals 1 looks much better. So, and then after, we need to make sure that we are returning the variable x. All right, and then we have just a very basic function. So now we're going to call it inside of the main. So what we're going to do is just put add 1, and put in our x. And then just for safety, let's see out x so we can actually see what it is. So you may be inclined to say that this would print out 6, because of course 5 plus 1 would equal 6. However, that's not what this would print out. Instead, this would print out a 5. The reason is because all functions by default use pass by value instead of pass by reference. If we were to use pass by reference, this would instead be 6. However, first I'm going to just show you the difference between pass by value and pass by reference in memory. So by default, all functions use pass by value. What this means is that, so we have our variable x here, which is 5, and we want to try to add 1 to it to get 6. If we did this inside of main, it would be very simple, or we'd be able to update it inside of main. However, using a function which is pass by value, instead of updating it in memory, it creates another copy of x, sets it equal to 5, then does its job, plus equal to get 6. However, when this is returned, it's not updated in the main function. Instead, this x is only used for the scope of this function. It's never actually stored in memory. To be able to print out 6, you would need to use pass by reference. So to do pass by reference, right next to your argument, you need to be putting an ampersand. And there you go. This we call pass by reference. It's also smart to do that up here. You could have some issues. All right. So what is pass by reference? Instead of creating a copy of the variable in main, pass by reference updates the variable in memory and is able to affect the variable inside of main. So this just means that instead of just making a copy, it is able to update the exact variable that you would call. So that means that whatever the name of the variable you put in here is very sensitive. Not only when you are calling it, however. This, for when defining and declaring, you can still use any variable name to like take the place, but whenever you are calling the function, it's important to remember that it will always affect the one that is inside here. Say we had an int y later equals 3, but we wanted to add 1 here. Y. This would then change 3 to 4 because it's updating the exact variable which it is called into. Thank you so much. This has been my application to be an EECS 183 IA.